What is going on, party people? Welcome to the episode 4 of the review show. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am one of your hosts. And that's right, I said one of, because we have some amazing co-hosts on board today. First up is a name that longtime listeners will probably know well. In this show's previous incarnation, we were pretty much saying his name every week. Longtime supporter and friend of the show, the man, the myth, the golden trash can himself, Eric Mannix.
Oh, snap. Yeah, I'm still making those buttons, by the way. That is happening.
Sweet.
Golden trash can buttons are happening. Hello, Kyle. Welcome.
Cool.
Thanks for having me. Feels good. Long time listener, first time caller.
Of course. And second up to bat is a name that very, very astute listeners will also know.
I have snuck into Whatnauts canon the same way that, like, Adam Warlock is snuck into MCU canon so far.
There you go.
Like, you have to stay after the credits, and that's where I show up.
There you go. If you guys were listening to our 2-year retrospective episode, she was chilling with us in the live stream on Twitch. It was amazing because you spent like 4 hours with us that day.
I did.
Long-time lurker, stepping out of the shadows for the first time. The amazing, the wonderful Melissa Wilkinson.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, party people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so dude, guys, I am so excited that you are here on this show. I'm like shaking. It's amazing.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels real good.
Because I did 3 previous episodes of the review show by myself, and good God, that is extremely difficult.
They were very excellent and very short.
Yes, they were.
But that's okay.
Short,
it's hard to vent by yourself. It was all killer no filler though. It was good. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
This will not be a short episode because you have me on. So this is not going to be 20 minutes. This is not 20 minutes. It's not going to happen.
I
possible.
took a lot of notes.
I warned people too. I was like, the next one is probably going to be a lot longer, so prepare yourselves.
Yeah.
But
I have a notebook.
Woo.
I like color coded all of the Infinity Stones so I would remember like which ones are which.
oh, there you go.
Oh, man.
You're a step ahead of me because I don't remember which one's which. But yes, so for those of you guys joining us in the live stream right now, welcome. We hope you guys join us because this is a live stream. We're back to live streaming this show right now. So come hang out with us. We're in the Twitch chat. I'm monitoring that right now. So if you guys want to chime in, you guys definitely can. And we do have like a little special live stream chat for Patreon supporters. That stuff will pop up on the actual screen, the actual live chat thing. But yeah, we are on twitch.tv/the Whatnauts. You guys can find us there. But if you guys cannot make the live streams, that is a-okay. We will put this up on YouTube and as a podcast the following week, so you guys can listen whenever you want. This is going to be coming out the same weekend that Avengers Infinity War is coming out. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, oh snap! I almost forgot. When does that come out? Because I want to make sure I get something in that like corresponds. So
You know what the best part is, Kyle, is when I quit out of the fridge, I was like, you know what, man, I loved doing the show, but I'm kind of glad I don't have to read all these comics that tie into the movies. I'm kind of glad I get a break from that. I mean, like, I love a lot of these comics, obviously, but yeah, I'm just gonna take a break. And then you're like, you want to do Infinity Gauntlet? I was like, fuck yes, obviously. And I was like, ah, shit, what'd I do? Right back in.
exactly, it's so much fun. Like we've taken a couple weeks off, like behind the scenes, like we planned it out so like no one would know. And yeah, you take like a couple weeks off, a month off, and you're just like, man, that was so much fun just sitting there getting to talk about this stuff. But yeah, dude, it's great to have have you both on here. I think we are about to dive in.
Yep.
Before we do that, if you guys did not know, every week here on the Whatnauts Review Show, we pick a topic to discuss, whether it be a comic book, movie, TV show, anime, manga, something else. We read it, we watch it, we go do what we gotta do, then come back here and talk about it. So Eric, I kind of want to put you on the spot really fast here.
Please do.
You work at a comic book store.
That is true.
So we are going to be talking about the Infinity Gauntlet this week. And if I came up to you, everyday person, and was like, hey, I want to read the Infinity Gauntlet. What is it about? What would you tell me?
Well, first, I would say the same thing I say to everyone that talks to me, and that is, how dare you? Second,
Jeff Goldblum classic.
Yeah, there's a reason that man is a national treasure. This was actually my first time reading it.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty interesting. Yeah,
Same here.
Highly recommended. It's one of those quintessential Marvel stories that for years and years and years, everyone was like, you gotta read it. I grew up an X-Men kid, and so that was always my thing, and I never got too into the cosmic stuff. So it's fun, finally getting to read it. My short version, and Melissa can back me up with her notes. Mm-hmm. And Melissa, just to warn you, I'm the opposite of you. I'm like the train wreck by the side of the road. Like, I don't even know what happened, man. That's me. So, Thanos, who'd been recently resurrected before this story, and I don't have all the details, and frankly, I was too lazy to look it up, but he was revived by death. He is in love with death. He concocts this plan to get the Infinity Gems, or Infinity Stones, as I think they call them in the movies, but at the time they were all called the Soul Stones. They were all called Soul Stones, and then it was in Thanos' Quest, the story right before this, which oddly Marvel did not collect in any of their recent trades, which is weird. Thanos' Quest is a cool short story right before this, where he hunts down all of the gems, killing a lot of people to do so, and getting the gems of power, but he's convinced to have Death fall in love with him, and part of the way he thinks he can do this is by killing like half of the population to kind of thin the herd and show his power.
Yeah, that's Death's specific command. She's real mad that, I think across all of the different universes, like not just on Earth, because this would be impossible, there are more people alive right now than have ever died. And she's like, you need to go kill half the population and equal out those numbers.
Yeah.
Those rookie numbers, pump up those numbers. Make it happen.
Yeah, cool. That's pretty much it. Like, he has the gems, and he's like, well, okay, let's destroy half the universe. And I think we open up with, like, Spider-Man, who's sitting there like, wait, did that guy just disappear? And he starts seeing like just people disappear, and then they're like, oh shit, something is happening. This is not good.
Another thing is that it's not just people; it also happens to animals.
Oh yeah,
which was not part of Death's deal, I don't think. I don't think she told Thanos, like, hey, we also have too many, like, horses and parrots and things.
Yeah, who needs platypuses, right?
He just threw that in as a bonus. Like, I also killed half the world's animals. I hope you're real impressed right now.
Exactly. Man, the things you do for love, right?
I love how extra Thanos is too. It's so great. Like
yes.
And God, he's so amazing. It's like Space Beyonce. It's just the best.
Space Beyonce.
So like in Thanos' quest, at the end of that, he gets the glove of power. He gets all the gems, right? So it's like, finally, I'm like omnipotent, and we'll be equals. And then in that story, and Death never talks to him directly. She always says like her minions talk to him, right? Which just drives him crazy. He's like, talk to me, woman! And he's just like, he just interrogates one of them at one point. I can't remember what the dude's name was. But at the end of Thanos' quest, one of the little minions is like, oh yeah, well, you're not equals, you're actually like her better now because you're omnipotent. And he has like this slow-mo tear, like, no, that's not what I wanted, like, curse this monkey's paw.
I've made a mistake.
Yeah.
Hunt down Thanos Quest, man. Marvel, you fucked up by not reprinting it, but
It's
Thanos
on-
Quest is fun.
It's on Marvel Unlimited. If anyone,
That's
has
how I
that.
read it. That's
Yeah.
how I read it. Yeah, it's on Comixology Unlimited too. That's how I read it. Actually, it was the Comixology Unlimited. It was like a 2-part prestige format, so it's like 100 pages total. It's not required reading for this, but it does show how he gets the gems, and they all get named and identified for the first time, and other than just being called soul stones, and so definitely a cool read.
Right. Well, you mentioned that it was your first time rating it. I believe it was also your first time, Melissa.
Yeah,
that true?
I'm not very experienced with comics at all. Like, I've seen every Marvel movie, a lot of them multiple times, but I've never gotten very deep into comics just because I know it is an unending pit.
Yeah.
And like if I get into comics, people will always be like, "Oh, well, if you like this, you should also read this, and how about this one? And that guy also wrote this thing." And I will never get out. Like, I will have a never-ending homework list, and that kind of intimidates me. So I
You'll
don't
end up
read
working at a
comics
comic book
very
store.
often.
That's
yeah.
100% true, but you also won't ever get to half of it.
Exactly.
True
Like,
story.
I've had my comics from the past like 5 months sitting by my bed, and they're just sitting there, haven't read them yet. But
But
yeah,
I am sandwiched in between two big comic fan brothers. And thankfully, my older
Oh.
brother had bought my younger brother a copy of Infinity Gauntlet, like, for Christmas. And I
Perfect.
I didn't have to go searching. I just had to drive over to my brother's apartment and pick it up.
perfect. That worked out well then. Well, it was all our first time reading this book. I was quite certain that Mannix, you had read it before, but I guess not.
I have a reputation at work, and I think even on the fridge, as being like the Marvel guy, and I kind of get it, I guess, because again, I grew up with the X-Men, but for the last like 4 years, I've predominantly read indie comics, and I'm slowly just turning into the like aged hipster that I swore I hated. I'm like somehow that guy now. I find myself saying the term corporate comics more than I ever thought I would. I still love Marvel and DC, and I still read some of it, but I am in no way current with what's going on, and
Yeah.
I still like. I hadn't read the Simonson Thor run until 3 or 4 years ago, and that's like legendary. And of course, the minute I did, I was like,
I
"Oh
still
my
haven't
god,
read
this
that.
is amazing!" And
Like,
everyone's
I
like,
don't
"Yeah."
know that much about comics,
It
and I
is.
know that one.
I mean, I knew it was good. I knew I was supposed to read it, but I hadn't actually read it.
Right.
And then I finally did, and then my mind was blown, and everyone looked at me like, "Man, it's like we told you for 10 years to read that book," and I did. So it was nice finally reading this. Yes,
Yeah.
after having it recommended about 1,000 times.
Well,
Yeah.
I know you and I have kind of talked that we both really like the post-crisis DC era, and
Oh, that's my jam.
this is kind of this book came out in 1991, which is kind of right at the end of like the late 80s. Like, all these comics are really damn good. You should check them all out. Like, Superman was fantastic then. Like, so I knew you were kind of into like Marvel and DC stuff back then. So I was like, maybe he's read this. But yeah, so now
My
that
brothers read it when it came out. Yeah, so
Okay.
it was in my house. Like, I had a copy in my house.
Gotcha.
Yeah. This, like, my brother Sean in particular was into this, and he loved Green Lantern. Green Lantern came way later for me. It was only X-Men. It was only X-Men until like 1996. That's all I ever wanted to hear about. And then Onslaught happened, and Onslaught was so horrible that I actually quit reading comics altogether for 8 years. When I came back into comics, then I started trying everything out. Yeah. So that's why I missed the boat originally. Stubbornness.
sounds good. So what did you guys think? Since this was your first time, because I was surprised at how like it, to me, the story had like a classical literature feeling to it. if that makes sense. Like Thanos being as you mentioned, as extra as he is, the way that he was written just kind of made it seem like this is the type of thing I would find in Homer's Odyssey or like in Dante's Inferno. It's just like extra flowery dialogue and narration. Which
I was thinking space Jane Austen. Mr. Darcy in space. I don't know.
So I like
space romance.
I was kind of surprised at that, and I liked that when it came to his character. And like, because I haven't really read anything Marvel Cosmic, so yeah, like I was surprised, and I actually really liked that it was kind of this like different feeling. It felt more not nostalgic, because I'm not nostalgic for ancient Greek literature and stuff like that, but you know,
don't lie.
Like it has this kind of like ancient feeling. Not just to be like, this is an old comic book, if that makes sense. What did you guys think?
It does feel very grandiose and larger than life and thematic.
Yeah.
The problem I always had with the cosmic characters, and I still do in this one, is that they're just so large in scale, just their size and their power rating and all that, and just even the issues that they face. I could see why people would be into it. It just I need smaller human stories.
Yeah.
To kind of dig into. I loved Thanos in this, so I liked Thanos in all his extra majesty. But when you're talking about like Eternity and all these other cats, that was like, they would just kind of like stand there ominously in the background. I was like, am I supposed to be scared right now?
Great plan, Adam.
Yeah.
They're so overpowered that they are literally nothing but power. Like, none of them have personality traits. They're just mighty, and that's it.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the quintessential, like you're talking shit and your boys are standing statuesque behind you, right? And you're just like, oh, that's like, that in space is like what this felt like to me. They're just like standing there like they're smelling what the Rock is cooking, like just not saying anything, but trying to look real hard. But being real boring. Yeah.
Because like
Thanos was great though.
Like you said, I think I want that human story, and I think when it comes down to it, that's what Thanos' story is. It's this like, hey, I'm in love with this woman. How do I court her properly? And he's just an idiot, and you know, like does everything wrong.
So kill more people.
But yeah, and so then like he ends up going about killing all these people, and of course, when you're in a world full of superheroes, then it's like, oh well, we have to save the universe, and like it's bombastic and it's fun, but I think there's much more potential for like this smaller scale. Like I really want to know what Thanos is thinking. Like obviously he's confused, like why isn't this working? But I think he has a lot of potential in that regard.
Yeah, and I know Jim Starlin is kind of known as like the cosmic guy, both at Marvel and DC. He's written a lot of cool dark side stories, like he did Cosmic Odyssey over at DC. That was super awesome. That was a great kind of crisis era story. And he's written a ton of Thanos stuff and Silver Surfer, and so I know he's like the guy for cosmic. But I feel like a writer like Kurt Busiek would have been a more ideal choice for like what I would have wanted for the story, because he does kind of the internal monologue, and so you get into his protagonist and antagonist's head a little more, and I don't know, again, that's just what I gravitate more towards. And you could still have a grandiose story, but it ends up feeling like space Shakespeare a lot of times, and a little over the top.
It is Shakespearean, especially in that Shakespeare plays had like a ton of people in them, Like,
Oh
every
my
court
God.
scene has, like, 4 pages in it, and, like, the lead character has, like, 3 knight buddies, and the king has, like, 8 daughters. Like, it's just chock full. Like, how I have to employ every single person in my actors troupe. Just keep throwing tiny roles in there. They'll walk on, they'll do a thing, they'll walk off. And that's what this book felt like to me, because it's so jam-packed of all of these Marvel characters, and I know, like, 40% of them. Like, there's that big page, there's, like, a huge, like, computer screen over Captain America's shoulder, and it's got all these little, like, portraits and names, and he's like, these are all of our associates that have gone missing, and I'm like, oh no, somebody took Box.
Yeah,
what is a Box?
I was like, who the fuck is Box? Who the fuck is Puck? Like, I
don't
know who
know.
these guys are. Puck, I feel like I've heard the name at least.
Yeah. Who is a
Puck-
Shakespearean character for reals.
Yeah, the Marvel Universe Puck is great. He's from Alpha Flight. He's like this tiny little
Okay,
dude.
he's
He's
thought it was
amazing.
Alpha Flight.
I mean, no one knows Alpha Flight. But I have a weird soft spot for Puck just because he's so ridiculous as a character.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that scene as well because I love in stories like this. There's certain characters like Captain America or Black Panther that's like they've certainly tweaked their outfits over the years, but it's like very immediately you can go, oh cool, that's Cap, and that's a pretty quintessential kind of classic look. Even with tweaking things, there's still like fundamental design elements that like that's the character. But then there's like Archangel, who again I love an X-Men guy, but man does that look so 80s. Like, oof.
Yes!
And so it's funny like seeing like the grid. I'm like, some of them like they have like shoulder pads and stuff. I'm like, oh baby, that's just that's
there's
not a good
some
look.
real questionable wardrobe changes. Like, imagine if those were like the last photographs of you, like you disappear and this is the outfit that's like on the posters. Like, we're looking for a neon pink winged man, have you seen him?
Yeah.
It was that page though, like when I saw that list of all the people that went missing, I was looking at all the names, and like the first thought that went through my mind was, man, I thought I knew the Marvel Universe. I have no idea who these people are.
Yeah.
I technically didn't start reading comics till I was in college, but my dad had a whole bunch of comics and stuff like that, and I was around them a lot, and Marvel was always my favorite. And it hasn't been until recently that I've kind of like discovered that actually I'm a DC fanboy at heart. Because I know their universe a lot more, but yeah, I was sitting there like, I don't, who do we even care about these guys? Like, is that the like D list? Like, because that doesn't like, sorry dudes, but we can still save the earth without you.
And then there's other characters thrown in there that are so big, like 3/4 of the Fantastic Four are gone, and like that doesn't play. Nobody's affected. Like, there's so much time spent on people we don't know, and there's people that we do know that, like, are glazed over. And I'm like, this, like, I know all of this is impermanent. It will basically reset itself at the end of the story, but this balance feels off to me.
Yeah, they turned Cyclops into a fucking fishbowl. That was great. That was probably my favorite death. I part of it was, I guess it was hard just knowing that, well, these characters obviously aren't gonna stay dead because the whole point of the story is he has a magic glove that can do whatever the fuck he wants. But yeah, there's a scene where everyone's just like I forgot that Eric Masterson was Thor. He went on to be Thunderstrike later. I'm like, Eric Masterson, oh my god, Thunderstrike, oh snap, that's so 90s, oh my god.
I was so confused when Thor was like, I can't let any of them know I'm not the real Thor. And I knew that, like, there were more Thors than just Thor, but I'm like, how am I supposed to tell who this is? I know
it's great because
he
looks like the other Thor, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's like I can't believe it's not.
And
like, okay,
technically, wasn't it something like he actually is the real Thor? He just has amnesia or something, and he thinks he's someone else. Wasn't it something like that?
I am certain that
he
has
may have
happened
gotten-
at some point.
He may have bonded to him, but there was like a real Eric Masterson, because when Thor came back or whatever, or they got separated or whatever they did, Eric Masterson became a different character, Thunderstrike, and he got his own hammer.
Okay.
And then they killed him off later, and then he had a kid, and they did like a son of Thunderstrike thing. I stopped paying attention, but yeah, I don't know. The Thor stuff's always confusing. They had Jake Olsen in the late '90s that was like a paramedic that was dead, and then he was using his body.
Weird.
Thor should just be Thor, and they should like not worry about like you're just Thor. Sometimes you wear glasses because you want to be like a Scandinavian Clark Kent or whatever. Like don't worry about it. Like, geez.
They do a lot of weird stuff like that with Thor, because in the Civil War comic, Thor dies, and it turns out he's a robot.
What?
Yeah.
No!
Yeah. And it's like, wait, like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've already got Vision. Like, you already have a robot. You didn't also need to cross that off the list.
That one was cool because, Thor had died during Ragnarok, and then they brought him back right after that in an amazing run that J. Michael Straczynski did with Oliver Copiel. But they did like the robot Thor story, and it was supposed to show like, oh my god, look how far Reed Richards has like gone off the deep end. Like they used his DNA with robot parts and all this shit. And
that
there was
is
this
something Reed Richards would do.
No, it's so great because in that Thor run, when Thor comes back, he has to rebuild Asgard, and he rebuilds it in Oklahoma, which is awesome. It's just floating over the Oklahoma plain, and so it's just Asgard.
I like it.
It's so great, and it's so good. So it's just these gods hanging out with like Cletus, Broxton, Oklahoma. Yeah. Anyways, it's so good. That run is so great, but there's an issue in there where he beats Tony Stark. He beats his armor off of him completely. It's red. And as they fight, his armor like just falls off of him. He's like, "Yeah, we ain't friends no more," and he just walks away like, "I know what you did to me." So he's like so offended. He's like, yeah. The only one that beat him down more. Oh, sorry. I got one more cock. I got one more.
Go ahead. Go for it.
This was during Civil War. I'm not a big Iron Man guy. Iron Man's kind of a punk. You can fight me on that. But
I think so too.
Everyone, because of the MCU, everyone's like, Iron Man's the best. Iron Man was B-list at best until the cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Look it
He
up,
still kind of
seriously.
is, because his comic doesn't really sell.
It's not. That's because Bendis did it forever, and Bendis is the worst. But, the only other awesome beatdown that Tony Stark had at that same time during Civil War was Nova was flying in from outer space after Annihilation, and he was like, yo, you gotta register. And he doesn't even touch down on planet Earth. He's like, I just saved the universe. This doesn't matter. And he flew away. Like, the only thing better than getting almost beat to death by Thor was like literally Nova saying that you're actually not even worth it. That was perfection.
Speaking of Tony Stark, though, his death in this was really funny to me too, because it's off panel. They don't even give him like the light of day.
Oh, no. Yeah.
He ran out of Duracell batteries.
It was that, and what's her name just like walks up with his head and is like, "So I took this guy's head."
That was a bit dark.
I was like, "Oh shit!" They just decapitated Tony Stark. But so like we've kind of mentioned the writing and how grandiose it is. It was a little bit jarring to see that grandiose narration put on characters like Spider-Man. Because it did not fit at all.
Yeah, and when you get to, I think it's in the big cosmic section, I think it's the Living Tribunal, whose text is written not in the same font as everybody else. It's these big block letters, and I stared at it for a while, like, what does this remind me of? And I'm like, oh, this looks like the text that would pop on screen in, like, a Schoolhouse Rock. Like, the Living Tribunal speaks in, like, conjunction junction font.
Conjunction
like,
junction.
Cosmic.
Brightly colored block letters.
Sing with me, kids.
This is a weird choice.
Marvel Cosmic, the musical.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, come on, get the Infinity Gems. I mean, like, we could have made some money with this, Marvel. What's up?
Yeah, I would love like a child's
The
or any
cosmic
age
musical.
educational song teaching you what each Infinity Gem does.
They would have that. They would
Damn.
have something on like who these characters are, like who the living tribunal is. There'd be a song about I think it was in Secret Wars 2 when Spider-Man teaches the Beyonder to poop.
Yes. Yes.
Because
Iconic.
he comes
man.
down to be a human and he has no idea what to do. And Spider-Man has to teach him to poop.
Woo!
Comics,
Good old Marvel.
crazy stuff.
Like his comics, that's why.
Yeah.
Damn.
Did you guys have a favorite moment in this? Like, what stood out to you as like, hey, this moment is really cool. I want to see more of that.
Yes.
Oh shit! Hit my mic.
Go ahead, Melissa.
I think my favorite part was kind of towards the end of this big battle in space when Captain America like steps up to Thanos and he's like, as long as anybody stands against you, like you're not winning. This isn't a victory. And it talks about his like noble sentiments. Like Thanos is like, these noble sentiments will be your downfall. And Captain America's like, I don't care. These are virtues worth dying for. I liked that part a lot because it felt like the Infinity War movie could lift that straight off of this page.
Oh,
Like,
they
it was
are.
the first thing I looked at that I'm like, okay, this feels like the things I have seen on screen. Like, this feels familiar. This feels like my cinematic home.
Yeah, I was starting to see pictures of that panel when like one of the new trailers came out, and there's the spoilers for anyone who like doesn't want to know anything about the trailers at all. You might want to skip ahead to the next minute or so, but there's a scene in one of the trailers where Captain America confronts Thanos, and he goes down to punches him, and he catches the punch. They're like, let's look at the comic book equivalent of when they first met, you know. I was like, oh, they're gonna do it. Captain America's gonna get punched in the face and die. It's gonna be great. So yeah,
Oh,
that
the
was
internet.
a sweet moment. But yeah, it was on all the like comic book sites of just like, check it out. Here's clickbait to come look at our site.
I loved that, and then I also loved when Thanos gets so powerful that he's like, why do I even need a physical body anymore? I'll become eternity. I'll become just like a big shadowy starfield outline in the sky. And then as soon as he does that, then Nebula is like, okay, if you're not inhabiting your body, I can go over there and
just
rip the
take the
physical
thing, yeah.
glove off of it. Off this husk you have just left dangling here. I'm like, that's good. I
didn't
did
think
not
that one through,
predict
Thanos.
that coming. And it's so, like, it's so clever, and it's also so, like, absurd. Just like, yoink, this is mine now, because
it's-
you left your body.
Yeah.
It's such
the
a
Looney Tunes
facepalm
answer, yeah.
moment of just like, God
I'd love
damn
to
it,
see
Thanos.
something like that in the movie, too. I think that fits the tone of, like, this is high drama, but also it's very ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see like a Star-Lord or Rocket or someone in the movie doing a
Yes!
similar, like, yoink kind of,
Yeah,
I could see
you
that
have
being a
so
very
many
similar.
yoink characters that you could use.
Yeah.
Half the cast could yoink.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great word.
Take it out of
yoink.
context.
Yeah.
um,
There's going to be some yoinking going on. But
what's this movie rated?
let's see, what was one of my favorite moments of this comic? I think for me, yeah, the moment when Captain America approaches him, that was pretty cool. I kind of like the ending, as much as I felt like it came abrupt, and it just kind of happened. I think what they were talking about and like where everything ended up, I thought was really, really cool. Just having Thanos kind of be this like humble farmer, and just like he's the one that wanted all of this power and to know all the like minute, minuscule details of the universe and have all this knowledge and wisdom and have to like watch over it all. And now he's in a position where he doesn't like he has none of that. Like he doesn't need to do anything. And then there's Adam Warlock, who is so detached and is just like, I don't really care about humans specifically, but this whole situation is
Perfect
fucked.
politician.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't really want this power, and then he gets all the stuff, and he's just like, oh shit, this is a lot to deal with. So that
there was a Warlock
cool.
series after this. I'd be curious to see what direction they went with that series. I don't know how long it lasted. My brother was reading it at the time. He loves Adam Warlock.
Yeah, I liked him a lot too. Like, he doesn't have a ton of personality in this. I think my brain just reacted positively to his color scheme and his beautiful
I was
hair.
like, he's gold. He's so shiny.
Golden boy.
He's just like bright goldenrod and tangerine, and he has this luxurious like 70s pop star hair.
Yeah.
That, like, man, late 80s, early 90s is the time for amazing hair and large collars on superhero costumes.
Yeah, Doctor Strange looked so ridiculous. I don't know if that's what his cloak looks like all the time with the, like,
It kinda
bunny
does.
ears on it.
Well,
It did in the
God.
80s. Yeah.
I don't think he has the ears now, but he
toned it down.
always kind of has
Yeah.
that cloak and is super
He looks
extra.
like a sad magic hipster now, but back in the 80s, he looked like a thinner Tom Selleck or something. like a coked out Tom Selleck is what he looked like in the 80s, yeah. Complete with like just the porno stash. It was ridiculous, yeah.
Wow.
I think the best examples of that are Nightwing, when he like first comes out as Nightwing, right? Yeah, in Teen
with like the
Titans.
piping. Oh my god, that's so good.
That costume is so bad that it is so good.
The only thing better than that is him out of costume. Have you seen him with the ridiculous like ponytail and like the white puffy shirt?
No.
There's, dude,
Like Seinfeld
look up
style
Dick-
puffy shirt.
Yeah, look up Dick Grayson. Look up Dick Grayson
Okay.
in the 90s. He like has this long ass ponytail like mullet thing, and these fucking like skinny jeans, and this. It's not quite a Hawaiian shirt, but it's like this white ugly ass shirt. You'll see it, and it's fucking beautiful. It looks so good.
Ponytail. Google
For real,
images.
look up Dick Grayson, like Dick Grayson 90s fashion or something to that
What?
effect on Google. Are you finding it?
I'm finding a
finding
picture of him, and he's wearing like a polka dot shirt. He looks
Yes,
like
that's
a
it.
clown.
That's it. That's it. Cocaine.
What's he doing?
Lots of cocaine. Because no one that's not on cocaine would dress like that. That's just not a thing. Doesn't matter. I lived through the 90s too, and I didn't dress like that.
Well, to be fair, isn't Dick Grayson the one? Is he the one that used to be in a circus? Is he the circus
Yes.
boy?
Yeah.
I think that
He
is
is
how a
circus boy.
grown-up circus boy would dress.
Yeah.
I think they need to call his book
Loud
Circus
polka
Boy.
dots.
And Dick Grayson.
Dang, look at the
Oh,
hair
man.
on those arms too. Manly man.
Yeah. And his giant, long Cyclops legs.
That's-
I watched
Yeah.
a decent amount of X-Men. What's the X-Men Evolution? I watched a decent amount of that when I was a kid, and all I remember is just how crazy out of proportion Cyclops was, with his legs being like 75% of his body. And whenever I see that, it defaults in my brain to, oh, they got Cyclops legs.
That's fair.
That is fair.
And
And I think honorable mention goes to Superman's mullet in the 90s. That
that
was
was pretty good.
I am familiar with this,
That
yes.
was an interesting time.
The shorter list is who didn't have a mullet in the 90s. To be fair, man, it was a thing. It was a
Yeah.
whole thing.
It was, yeah.
This was right before the mullet phase. It was about 93. It was about peak mullet. Is what I remember. It got real bad for a minute there.
let me ask you guys this. We kind of talked about scenes we like. Mannix, did you mention one that you liked? Did I skip you?
I just
Or
like.
did you have one that stood out?
It's all good. I'm used to it, Kyle. It's fine. I liked all the slow-mo close-ups on just Nebula looking fucked every time.
Yes!
And like they just
Yes!
kept pointing at Nebula. Like I should have known. I should have known that Nebula's gonna do something, because they're like, look at Nebula. She's like, I've tortured her almost to death, but she can't die because I'm a son of a bitch. And so they just show these close-up like, and her looking like busted, like she needs some Vaseline and a dentist or something needs to happen to her face. But that was
Vaseline.
that was my
might not
best
help,
moment.
man.
And just come on, I mean, it's moisturize. They need like the
needs some
what was
moisturizer
that
for
dude
sure. She
From
needs some Aquaphor
Sounds
or
of the
something.
Lambs, motherfucker that was moisturizing all the time. Need some of that shit going on. Something. But she looked like a Greek tragedy come to life. But I should have known that she was going to play a part, because it kept showing her. It kept going there, like, in this. And it was just like, oh my God. Why? Okay, I see why
Which
now. Yeah.
that really surprised me too, because I think he was like, he's like, and look at my first creation, and then you turn the page in like big bold letters. It's like Nebula, and I was like, oh, I know Nebula. Whoa,
Yeah.
who is that?
Yeah. Like, I thought she was a robot, son.
That's
like,
that's a prune.
a bit different. Yeah.
That's
That is a
R.L.
California
Stein's
racist,
The
my
Haunted
dude.
Mask.
Yeah. Damn.
So that was a bit of a shock to see that, and yeah, and like I think before we started recording, you mentioned Vision too, and like he's not colored in; he's all white, and I'm like
Clorox bleach Vision. Yeah. Woo.
Fresh coat of
We
paint.
don't want to.
You know,
We don't want to pay the colorist. We're on strike. Vision. Yeah, like
well, I'm
under construction. Vision.
kind of wondering. I don't know what version your brother had, Melissa, because I read it digitally on Marvel Unlimited. So I'm wondering if
I
it's
got this thing.
is that the one that was printed in 2016 or like 2017? Do you know, or
I
is
don't
that
know.
an older one?
It's pretty crisp looking. I think it is a newer printing.
It looks like the current version. Yeah. That's the one I read.
I'm wondering if the older ones had it colored and they like went to recolor it and then forgot, because that's what they do.
I think that's
with
what
a
he
lot
looked
of
like
it.
at the time. I'm like fairly certain that was that, because everyone else was colored correctly. So like it has to just be that's what he looked like at the time.
Yeah.
Potentially.
I mean, he can go intangible, so maybe, I don't know. The Vision he's been destroyed and rebuilt so many times.
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
Yeah.
He came back as a teenage robot. How the fuck are you a teenage robot? How does that work? I don't know. Like, yeah.
Is that what that cartoon
Dude.
was about? My life as a teenage robot.
It was all about Vision.
Woo! Man, I love Young Avengers. It's one of my all-time favorite Marvel comics, but it's ridiculous. It's yeah. How you gonna come back as this doesn't. How? How? Come on! I love comics, but I just get so mad. You guys like what? If you don't like robots and clones and time travel, you're just in for a real bad time. You guys just a real bad time.
One thing,
especially with the X-Men.
Side note: one thing that I think a lot of people don't know about is how much like of Spider-Man's stories involve clones. Like if you've never read Spider-Man, you're just like, I know who he is and that's it, and I know who like Dr. Octopus is, and then the comic book nerd I am is like, well, have you read the Clone Saga? They're like, clones. I was like, yeah, dude, like clones everywhere. We don't even know if the Peter Parker who's out now is actually the real Peter Parker. Like, let's be honest. They're like,
oh no,
I don't know.
Kyle, do you not remember 1995? Do you not remember what they did then? Because I remember. They said that Ben Reilly was the quote unquote real
one, yeah.
And that Peter was the fake one, and the fans said, "Ha ha ha, no," and they didn't allow it, and they went so far as to kill Ben Reilly, and he like crumbled into dust or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, "See, only a clone would crumble into dust like that." So clearly, like he wasn't the real Spider-Man. And editorial was like, "Wink, wink, wink. Please keep giving us money." They also killed Aunt May that year, and the fans were also like, "No," and so they resuscitated her.
Yes.
Yeah, like Aunt May's 1,000 years old. Let her die. Let it happen.
Speaking of that, though, Mephisto was in this book. I've never read anything with Mephisto, so I haven't read that Spider-Man storyline, but I know it. I know it.
Oh, dude, it's actually like One More Day is actually worth reading because it's literally that and Ultimatum are the worst comics I've ever read in my entire life.
Ultimatum
they're
is bad.
So bad that I actually recommend people reading them. It's like you want a new litmus test for like what you can handle. Read this shit right here. And if someone told me like those were their favorite books, I would never talk to that person again because they're fucking crazy. Because they're horrible, but they're so horrible that they're entertaining. God damn! One More Day is a train wreck.
I think Dan Slott recently made a joke in Amazing Spider-Man based off of that. He was like, "Well, we all kind of know what happened in One More Day. Like, don't want to make any more deals with the devil, you know." Yeah, just to clue you in, Melissa, because I'm sure this is shooting over your head. Long story short, Aunt May died, and Peter Parker made a deal with Mephisto, who is Marvel's kind of devil character, to bring her back. But to do so, his marriage to Mary Jane was undone.
This does sound familiar.
And
because Mephisto would
hates
want it
that
for some
storyline.
reason. Like, why would he care about his marriage? You're supposed to get something out of it.
Because it's the one thing that Peter wants. So he's like, I'm just gonna take away the other thing that you want really
He clearly
badly.
didn't want it that bad. He's like, take my wife, please. I mean, I need this old woman over here, not this gorgeous supermodel who loves me. Fuck that shit. This old pruny woman over here that's like 87 years old, like save her for life. Like fuck that. Let
Aunt May had her chance.
Peter Parker is so emo. God, he's so emo. Like it drives me crazy, you guys. It's so emo.
I'm gonna sit my nephew down and make sure he knows that he is never allowed to make a deal with the devil to bring me back to life.
If I've had my chance, had my chance. Leave me to die.
Melissa, do you know what the best part of One More Day is? Is that at the end of it, he's also miraculous.
Oh, that's what is the best part when they climb the barricade and wave the big French flag.
He's de-aged like by like 10 years after that story magically because so Mephisto threw in extras and Harry Osborn's back. Harry Osborn is also back from the dead.
Why?
Ridiculous.
So because comics, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense because editorial mandated it. That's why, but they couldn't.
Editorial
oh my god,
mandates, yeah.
That story was so bad that J. Michael Straczynski demanded that his name be taken off the last issue of it. He's like, "Fuck this! This is a train wreck."
Damn.
Yeah, that sounds like a rough old time for every citizen involved.
Yeah.
Miles Morales is 1,000 times better if for no other reason than he's not a whiny little baby, and he would never do that. Oh my god! Seriously. I love Spider-Man, but come on, so bad.
So let me ask you guys this to bring it back to the Infinity Gauntlet here. Was there stuff you didn't like? Is like critiques? Is there something like, hey, they really could have done this better?
I mean, I thought there's too many characters. I actually thought large parts of it were insanely boring. And didn't focus on Thanos enough. Anytime the camera moved away from Thanos, I basically lost interest, I'm not going to lie. I read the whole thing, but it felt like work in places, for sure.
Yeah,
it's very dated.
I would have liked a lot more of Thanos' relationship with Death and just like a small peek
or lack thereof.
Into what her a small peek into like what her side of things is. Like it's kind of fun to imagine that she's just like, well, I guess this is what I get for putting a magical thrall on somebody and then they don't leave me alone. And she's just like 100% done about everything and it's just sulking in the corner like, when is this over? When do I get to go home to wherever Death lives?
I gave the guy that I sort of like an inch and he took a fucking mile.
It'd be great to have this story retold through Death's eyes. You could just have her internal monologue. Like, look at this motherfucker right here. Why is he smiling? Why is he smiling right now? Like, what? Did I say something? Like, come on.
I would kind of like to see this story only through Thanos' perspective. I don't want Captain America's narration or Spider-Man's or whoever or Adam Warlock. I think, the more it focuses on Thanos, the better of a story it will be. And
for sure.
I think it'd be cool to get some looks into what Death's thoughts were, because she always is just like, shun.
Yeah, I wanted to know if she ever had any points where, like, what Mephisto is telling Thanos is true, or is she like done? Is she absolutely? Can she not be one? Is she out of it 100%, or is she waiting for him to do something and he doesn't do it?
To play Mephisto's advocate. See what I did there? Eric's shaking his head like, nope, okay. It also is kind of interesting that we don't get her thoughts, and it is such a mystery, and we're left, is that really what she thinks? It, like, does she actually want him to do this, but he's still missing just one other thing, you know? And so that to me, that's kind of like we don't really, I don't ever want to know the Joker's origin story, because once you kind of know what it is, he's not as scary, right? And here's this like very regal character of Death, and we don't know exactly, you know, what she's thinking, and it's kind of a mystery to me, and I kind of like that.
So were you guys rooting for Thanos? Not to, like, yes, please kill half of all humans and animals on Earth, but were you rooting for him? Like, yeah, I hope he wins her favor back, because I kind of was. I wanted to see what that relationship would look like if it got to be what he wanted it to be.
I don't know. Like, I feel like, yeah, like I don't know. It's difficult, because like I don't want him to necessarily succeed, but I kind of just want to see what he does in that sense. Like, I guess the idea of us wanting it to focus more on Thanos is the idea we don't really want this to be a superhero story. And so in that sense, I don't really care what happens. Half the Marvel universe can get destroyed, and it's like, okay, well, that's just what he did, you know? But it's also a universe that I like, that I actually kind of care about and don't, you know, want that stuff to happen to. But I would like to see if he's successful, where he goes, what happens, you know, like, does he end up winning her over? Or not? Is he just a fuckboy?
I had faith in Thanos for one thing, and it's when he builds her this giant palace, this giant just monument to her, and there's 2 thrones up there for the 2 of them, and the thrones are exactly the same. Like, he didn't give her a smaller throne, and he didn't give her, like, your throne has flowers on it because you're a girl, Death. Like, it's the exact same throne, same size, same design that he has, and I really liked that tiny little touch that he does want to be on equal footing with her. And when dealing with, like, such huge cosmic powers, like, that has kind of gotten way off kilter. Like, he's gone from being her thrall to being the most important thing in the universe ever. And he completely bypassed, like, partnership. And I think I could kind of see in Thanos that was a thing he kind of wanted but could not figure out how to get to.
Yeah. He
join the club, buddy.
It just didn't add up. 1 plus 1 did not equal 2 for him.
Yeah, there's no middle sliders for Thanos.
Not at all.
Like Spinal Tap, he's always on 11. I guess I would have loved to have seen him succeed in getting Death's hand, because the only thing worse than having that unrequited love is getting it. Because Death is hella passive aggressive. Homegirl won't even talk to him, and you know that if they start dating, she'd be like, "Yo, minion, tell him I want some iced tea. What's some iced tea? I want 3 ice cubes though." And he'd be like, "Baby, why can't you tell me?" I'm like, "You tell him I also want a lemon slice." Like, talk to me directly. Like, he knows what he did.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine? That would be hell. That would be the worst,
terrible.
and he would deserve it, and I would love it, and it would be hilarious. So that's
It's just kind of fun to see him be dragged through the dirt, to have him get all of this power, and then he's still powerless compared to her. In the sense that she like doesn't care for what he's doing.
Yeah. Like, he is breaking inside.
She's just like, God damn it, what is going on?
He cannot fix that. And Thanos has no tenderness to him at all. And that's kind of a cliche, I guess, to be like, oh, the lady wants the man to be tender. Like, get in touch with your heart and your soft side, and then you can win her. Like, that is a cliche, but I want to see if Death likes a soft thing. If that is what she wants him to do. Does she want him to just stop yelling and, like, go over there and hold her hand? Or is she, like, death is death? Like, yes, kill more people. Kill everybody, and then that might work.
See, now I'm wondering how many like college thesis papers were about this toxic masculinity as the undercurrent for the Infinity Gauntlet, and I bet that's out there. I bet that exists. If that exists, send it to me. If you wrote that paper, I want to read it. That's maybe it's just because I live in a very liberal place. Someone must have done a dissertation on this. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. I'm so. Because you can't read it like you would read any other romance, because the woman in this relationship is literally death. Who knows what death wants?
She does not want anything to live.
yeah, and she literally put him under a magical thrall to start this whole thing off. Not to be like, well, you deserve him pestering you, but like, you put him under a magical thrall. Of course he's chasing after you, because magic.
I wonder if it's more like this, because she does ask him to destroy like half of the universe, basically, but he's kind of going about it in this super extra way. Like, just this is not what I asked for. Like, yes, I wanted you to like wash my car, but you don't need to put on a skimpy little bathing suit and do like just take it to the car wash.
Yes.
Like if he had actually like just done the thing and then like that was it. Like, I wonder if she would have been like, "Do you want to go to Olive Garden?" And just like that was when like he didn't say anything else. Just like then everyone is dead, and she's like, fine, let's go. But
when he kills the universe real good, I take his ass to Red Lobster.
but
the Cheddar Bay biscuits, though.
That's what Death wants. She wants them cheddar biscuits.
I would kill half the universe for those biscuits. I'm just saying. Fuck true love. Biscuits. Have you had them? Them shits is delicious. Delicious. Red Lobster, I am open for sponsorship. Yes, I am. Just send me biscuits.
But like how plausible do you think that would have been? Like, if he just did the thing and like shut up about it and wasn't all like, "Behold, I am Thanos. Look at me."
Not possible.
Yeah, he did have to like jump up and down and point and shout whenever he did a thing, which is a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good to me. It was all for the biscuits.
It's pretty much my motivation for anything.
Last question for you guys.
Word.
What do you think the parallels are going to be between this and the film? Is there any scene? Because again, spoilers, kind of, if you don't want to know anything about the trailers and stuff like that, or you've been trying to avoid that stuff. There is that scene where Hulk kind of crashes through the ceiling of Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, But in this book, it's the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Is Hulk the kind of herald of being like, oh shit, guys, Thor just sent me here because we know something's about to happen?
Yeah, I figure it might be Hulk, or it might be like the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, because we don't know what happens first. But
I actually don't. I think they're only going to use just a few parts from this.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The way that, because I've been thinking a lot about just the structure of this lead up to our discussion, and thinking about how they did like Civil War or something, for example, where like there was a definitive story that it was based off of, and I've noticed for the most part with the MCU, they'll take
the idea of
one
something.
of their kind of they'll take like one of their classic stories, like the thing that it's named off of, and that they'll build like the bones of the story on that. But they have to retrofit it to work within the context of the MCU, which usually means making it a lot more Iron Man centric, which fucking drives me insane. But that's the universe they've created. Is Tony Stark is fucking God, apparently. I'm not anti-Iron Man, but it's the same problem with the X-Men movies, where it's like everything's about Wolverine. It's like we can share the love a little bit, guys. But the other thing they do is they'll also low-key throw in elements from other classic stories as well. Like with Civil War, a lot of it was the Brubaker story, but that whole opening scene with Batroc the Leaper and everything, that was lifted directly from the Roger Stern and John Byrne run from 1980. It's one of those
on Captain America.
Really cool. Yeah.
Okay.
If you that opening scene where they sneak onto the ship. And he has to. Oh yeah. I mean, like the part like with getting the information, and everything. That part was new for the film. But like the fight, being on a ship, it was like terrorists had taken over a ship, and he fights back with the Leaper. So it's like there's parts that are lifted like whole cloth, and again like retrofit within the MCU continuity. So it's definitely going to be him getting the gem. So there's going to be some stuff from the quest. One of the things that annoys me is in the trailer it showed what should have been one of the most shocking moments, and that's the Vision getting his, stone ripped out of his forehead. Because the minute Vision was created, I was like, that's gonna suck when he ripped that out of his forehead. The minute that happened, I was like, what's happening. But they showed it in the trailer. Like, come on, guys.
I guess because it is so obvious. Like, I think even my parents, who have never picked up a comic book in their life, know, like, oh, the Vision's head goes into that big glove, and the guy gets powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it happening.
It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well for him, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the thing that not as many people... I've seen comics Twitter talking about it a lot, but outside of that, it's not... I would recommend, if you're listening to this and you're getting hyped to the movie like we all are, you want to read Jonathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers run. At least the build... Because he did both books at the same time, and they both build up to a book called Infinity, which is... not really a sequel to this, but it is Thanos related. That has Thanos trying to find his son. It's a really cool cosmic story. It's really good. But like, there's a character, Ebony Maw, that was created during that run that is going to be in this film, and so people aren't talking enough about the Hickman stuff. And I think the Hickman stuff there's going to be more of that in the film than this story, I think, just going off of what I've seen in the other MCU movies. And the other one that's just conjecture at this point, I'm just kind of guessing, is there's a cool story called Avengers Forever that has to deal with time travel and stuff like that. And it's really, really good. And that one, I think, is connected a little bit too, because there's some stuff you see with like Captain Marvel that's like 90s stuff, and we see like a blonde Tony Stark that's clearly younger, and we see some stuff with them. We see some stuff that looks like it flashes back to the battle with the Chitauri in the first Avengers movie. So it looks like there's either some time travel or some flashback stuff going on, but it looks like it's time travel stuff, which would make sense with, of course, one of the gems being the time gem. But I think that's kind of story element wise how that's gonna go. And so read the Hickman run on Avengers, New Avengers, all the way up through Infinity, and read Avengers Forever as well as Infinity Gauntlet would be my recommendations.
Interesting. Good call. I remember reading the Infinity storyline, but I kind of was only half paying attention, so I didn't really understand it. I was like, oh, they're all fighting Thanos in space, and he's looking for his son. That's about it. And then I think the whole stuff with the Inhumans happened after that, and I was like, well, I don't care about the Inhumans, so...
Marvel tried so hard with the
They did.
Inhumans, and ultimately no one gave a fuck. But man, they tried so hard. Like, sorry, they're not cool. The X-Men are cool. The Inhumans aren't cool. You tried your best. I get it, but the X-Men are so
Yeah.
much cooler. It's not even close.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else that you wanted to mention about this book?
Do you guys... Well, first of all, I am aware of who the major players in Marvel Comics are, but because I've never really read comics, I don't know who knows each other and who doesn't. So when this book started, I was very surprised that Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer were, like, best friends. And I really love the part where Silver Surfer is injured and Doctor Strange is like, I don't know what to do with him, but maybe if I put him in the sun, he'll feel better.
Oh, Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, characters come and go. I feel like they just kind of all know each other. Because they've had so many, like, world-threatening events. Galactus has come to Earth before, and Silver Surfer is the one that's usually like, guys, heads up, your planet's about to get eaten.
Yeah, that's what he does. He does that, and he surfs.
Yeah. So I mean,
Well, with
Silver
Silver Surfer and Doctor Strange, they know each other because they were on the Defenders together with the Hulk. So, like, they definitely have a history. But yeah, with all these big events,
in the
every
chat,
day they're hanging out.
in the chat, Logan Shillelagh, I believe I'm saying that correctly, shouted out that maybe they know each other because they were on the Defenders together.
Oh, they were on the Defenders.
Yes, they were.
That seems very different than the idea of Defenders I have as a layperson. So clearly,
Well,
I need to go find out more about this.
Marvel
team.
Netflix Defenders is kind of, they just took the name and that was kind of it.
Okay.
Yeah, then the Netflix series is more like a street level New Avengers team, or like a Daughters of the Dragon, which are, you know, fan favorites.
I wish
but,
they
like
would
all the
make
Misty
the
Knight
Daughters
and
of
stuff.
Dragons.
They should. That'd be dope. But yeah, calling it the Defenders, I always thought was really weird, and because any like older thing that you see that says Defenders, it's gonna be like Doctor Strange and like Valkyrie and Silver Surfer and like Hulk and like. It was like the non-team superhero team. It had a pretty lengthy run, and they had a couple over the years. As much as I love
I've
Doctor
heard
Strange,
fairly
I
good
haven't actually
things
read any of them.
though about that
Yeah.
that run. That it actually was pretty good.
It made it over 100 issues, so it must have been okay. You know, it didn't get canceled for a very long time, so it must have been all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I had fun in this book figuring out like who knew each other, like what everybody's normal comics relationships are to each other, because I know these people like in a vacuum. Like, I know who all lives in New York City, but I don't know like are the
90%
Fantastic
of them.
Four and Daredevil friends? I don't know.
He's their lawyer. Of course they're friends.
Yeah.
So is
He is. That's a
learn...
In
Matt Murdock is all of their lawyers. Just spoiler warning. Yeah,
Happens in,
And if it's not,
Yes.
then it's Jen Walters, She-Hulk. It's like there's only two lawyers in the Marvel universe, and it's those two.
Well, there's
yeah.
also Foggy.
yeah, true.
Fuck
He doesn't really get the
by
clients or the
association.
girls. Fuck, what was I just gonna say? I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, I was gonna say Daredevil Yellow. There's a scene where the Fantastic Four like crash into Matt Murdock's office, and they're like, "Wait, this guy? We're hiring this doofus?" Like,
Yeah,
it's like, okay, that's great. Thanks.
just like that. Actually, it was beautiful. Yeah, so good.
Thanks, guys. You destroyed my wall.
Yeah, this book was a really... Like, I really threw myself into the deep end with I don't know a lot about comics. Like,
Yeah.
oh, let me pick up the book that is literally like 180 people in it.
Yeah.
And they all know each other and I don't know any of them.
Well,
It's like every party I've ever been to. You guys have all
Yeah.
met before. Clearly, I'm gonna eat the cheese over here. I'll be over here.
Yeah, I guess, like, after I've done this, everything else I try to read will only be less confusing.
Yeah.
Maybe I gave myself like a good dive in first.
I mean, that's kind of one of the ways to get into comics because it is so difficult. At some point, you're just going to have to dive in the deep end and you'll pick it up eventually. It's not necessarily the best way, but, hey. But, yeah, like, I mean, you'll at least have a frame of reference to be like, okay, I at least know who Doctor Strange is now, I at least know that the Silver Surfer exists and all that stuff, so. And that Adam Warlock was in a cocoon at some point in his life.
The cocoon I am familiar with.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess let me ask you this then. As a non-comic book writer, kind of diving into the deep end with this, did the story at least make sense? Could you at least follow it, or did you have to like go back and be like, okay, wait, what's happening?
No, it was simple enough that I got the basics of it. Like, Thanos is too powerful. Everybody has to team up and go stop him. So, like, that premise itself was simple enough that I could follow. Like, everything was, I was just had, like, one, like, background, like, white noise of confusion. Because, like, I barely know who any of these supporting characters are. Like, I think it's Quasar. Like, I spent a couple pages with Quasar before I'm like, this guy could be made up, and I wouldn't know. Like, this could just be a joke that this writer of this graphic novel...
Quasar is a joke. You were
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Like, he could just be, like, a completely, like, new, fake person, and I'm like, sure, I guess Quasar's been around forever.
Is Quasar supposed to be their version of, like, Starman? Like, the DC has Starman? I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know.
I don't really know what his closest analog would be in DC. I mean, I wouldn't say Starman. Quasar is fucking ridiculous and horrible, and like, oh yeah, he didn't have a book very long, and he within having that book,
That
it maybe lasted. Well, and he had like 3 or 4 costume changes within it, and they just couldn't figure out what the hell they wanted to do with this guy.
That's kind of the downside, and kind of what we were talking about at the start, where we like, even me, like someone who I thought kind of knew the Marvel universe, I didn't know who half of these people were, and when they did their like big assault and was like oh, we sent like 4 of the strongest Marvel characters to go fight Thanos, and like I think Firelord was one of them. I was like, who the hell is Firelord?
Yeah,
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, I've never heard of this guy.
So, yeah, like characters, they definitely tried to make certain ones stick, and they just did not. Sean in the chat is saying Quasar was part of Marvel's new universe, I believe.
Oh, yeah, the Star Brand, all that stuff. Yeah.
Something like that.
The new universe was like the new Coke, and it was about as loved as much as that was, which was not at all. And they promptly got rid. Yeah, I think the Star Brand, the whole Quasar thing. I think that was one of the only things that actually like stuck at all from the new universe, from what I remember. And even then, there's like a new Quasar now. It's a lady now. At least it was last time I checked during like an Annihilation. It's a whole thing. I can't keep up. But yeah, Quasar, they tried. They tried their hardest.
They tried. Last words then. Do you guys recommend it? Would you tell people to skip it? Would you... What?
I think it was fun, and it's very colorful. It is a feast for the eyes, I will say that.
That is true.
I would say that if you're reading this to get hyped for the movie, you don't need to.
Yeah.
I would say that if you want to read important moments in the Marvel Universe for the comics, then yeah, check it out. It is a definitive comic storyline. I think it's hard to come in after like having it recommended for 20 years and finally read it. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I've read some amazingly killer Marvel stories that like really moved me, and if I think this is one that maybe if I had read it when I was younger, you know, the nostalgia would have kicked in and it would have made for a richer experience, but without coming in more objectively. It was harder. I'm glad I finally read it. But like I mentioned earlier, when I finally read the Simon's the Thor run, even though I'd been hyped to death, it just blew me away. It was so stellar. It was just like a masterclass on how to tell a comic story. It's like that was an example of like something more than living up to the hype. And this one was like, it was cool. I'm glad I read it. If you wanted to keep going with this, there was several kind of sequels in this series. There's a Infinity War, Infinity Crusade. I mentioned earlier, there's an Adam Warlock series that came out of this. There's a bunch of this cosmic stuff, which is really the whole point of the stories, and that's why I personally don't get too into them. Is the events for Marvel and DC are always like a setting ground to launch new books. So not only is it like you have to like read this book and then all like the tie-ins that would have come with it at the time, then they're hoping that like coming out of it they're gonna launch like 6 new books or whatever. It's interesting going back over time and seeing what stuck and what didn't out of those. But the Marvel Cosmic stuff doesn't sell nearly as well as like all the other stuff. So all those like, other than like like Silver Surfer is like a fan favorite, and Silver Surfer does fine, but outside of like Silver Surfer, Warlock and all these, even like Nova and all these other characters, whenever they launch a book, it lasts maybe 20 issues or something, and then it gets canceled, and they'll try again a few years later.
Yeah, I would say Nova's probably the only other big one that they do besides Silver Surfer, and then every now and then there'll be like a Thanos graphic novel on something. So
the last Thanos series was hot. Donny Cates was doing it. It was only like 18 issues or something. It was a pretty short run, but intentionally so. They told the story they wanted to tell. So the most recent Thanos series that just wrapped up is really awesome, really cool. Jeff Lemire started writing that one. So yeah, they can do really cool stuff in there. You know. But I think but with the Thanos story again, it's like clearly so much more focused on him, so like I can get a lot more into it. So that's what I would gravitate more towards, is something like the Thanos solo book that just came out.
Okay. Yeah, I'd kind of agree with that. I enjoyed reading it just because I hadn't before, and like you said, it's kind of one of the, like, if you want to read important moments in the Marvel universe, like this is one you'll want to pick up. So I enjoyed it for that, but I kind of agree you don't really need to read this to kind of understand the movie, or I think if you do read this, I don't really think it's going to enhance your viewing all that much. You might have an idea of like, okay, I might have a bit more of an idea of what they're going to do in the movie, but beyond that, I don't think I can really say like, oh, this is required reading. But yeah,
it's just nice to have in like your back pocket for like, okay, I've kind of got an idea of like, for once I will go to a comic book movie and I will have a one-up on spotting like in jokes and references to things.
So in the
and
comics,
I don't have to, like,
this is what happened.
Immediately
actually
call my brother after I get out of the movie, like, what did that post-credits scene mean? Who's Adam? Like, no, now I know who Adam is.
Yeah.
Can I just say one of my favorite moments of all time was at the end of the first Avengers when you see Thanos for the first time, because half the theater was like, yes, oh my god, yes, like, and the other half was like, what the fuck is that? Like, and it was, there was no in between. Like, what's up with that guy's chin? Why is he purple? And it was like, it was so good. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
It was the best moment.
It was good because like the ones who knew were like, oh shit.
Yeah, well, because the minute I saw them, I was like, they're building up to the Infinity Gauntlet, like, they're going to, and
Yeah.
of course that's what they did. But I was like, that was the first inkling. That I was like, oh shit, like it got real. I see the direction they're going.
Yeah,
but yeah, so cool.
Well, I think that kind of about wraps us up for the discussion on that book. But for next week, I kind of tasked Melissa to pick something for our next episode. So I will pass the mic to you then. What are we doing?
I think I wanted too splashy of a debut for the first thing I ever picked for this. And I went through a couple different things. Like, one of them was a series that was so, I'm like, oh, let's pick something new, something relevant. And I didn't realize the thing I picked was not 100% done yet. So I'm going to come back to that thing in a couple weeks, and we're still going to do it.
Sounds good.
And, like, then I picked, like, a cool, uncommon, but, like, whenever it does come up, it's spoken of very favorably, like an old TV show. But I'm like, oh, this is so obscure. Like, this is very difficult to actually find somewhere to watch it affordably. So I'm like, okay, I need to just go mainstream. Like, pick something anybody might already have in their ownership or could easily get at just a local library. So we're just going to watch E.T., guys.
Hell yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever seen it 100% start to finish consciously as an adult.
Interesting.
And it's about time to cross that off my list. Like, I'm not sure if I've seen E.T. or if I've seen Stranger Things and Mac and Me, and I put it together in my head, and it's like, yeah, I've seen E.T.
Woo! Back at me. Oh my god, it's taking me back.
Cool. Yeah, E.T. is awesome. A good one. I haven't seen it in years.
So yeah,
I was a small child last time I watched it.
If I have seen it beginning to end, I was like 10 years old, and I barely know it. Like, I just know pastiches of it, I think. So I want to see it, like, consciously as itself.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, Eric, you and I really haven't talked about if you were going to be here next week, but you are more than welcome to join us for that as well. If
that sounds good.
Yeah.
I actually watched E.T. about 6 months ago and just wept openly. Oh, it fucked me up. It's so good! It's so good. E.T.'s the shit. E.T.'s the shit. Oh, man. I'm old enough. I was alive when it came out. I'm old.
There you go.
Oh, E.T.'s great. I will let you know because that sounds awesome. I would certainly love to.
That is totally fine.
Crap! I got a photo shoot. Yeah, well, I got a photo shoot next Friday.
We may or may not do a little bit of a different time. We will keep everyone posted. Because
I'll let you know then. I'm definitely interested. It sounds really cool.
Yeah,
I do love E.T.
We will talk about it. For those of you guys who were joining us in the live stream, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for chatting.
Thanks for the questions.
Yeah, totally. And if you guys did not make the live stream, I almost forgot what I was about to say there. I was like, what do I do?
You're all
next?
dead to me. That's what I said.
Yeah, if you didn't join the live stream,
you're not a real fan. How dare you?
You're dead to me. You're like, I am Thanos, and I will snap my fingers, and you will all die. No.
Yep. Fishbowl. Cyclops fishbowl. All of you.
Exactly.
Done. Woo!
If you missed the live streams, if you cannot make it, we put this up on YouTube and as a podcast the following week. And if you want to get it a little bit earlier than that, you can join our Patreon for just $1, and you can get all of our episodes early. So you can hand us your hard-earned money, and we will happily take it. However, though, if you don't have the money to send our way, that is okay, as long as you enjoy the show. We just want you to have fun. You know, that's the bottom line. So go follow us on all the social media, like, share, subscribe. Go tell a friend or make a deal with Mephisto. Do what you got to do, because that'll help us out a ton to spread the word. You can follow this show on Twitter at the Whatnauts, and you can find me personally at Hush315. Eric, where can the lovely listeners find you?
So my personal account is the Bobby Krogan. That's on Instagram and Twitter. I've got a photography page, Eric Mannix Photography, on Facebook as well. I have a new comic book show. Oh my gosh, what were we calling it? Independent Focus. I'm like, woo! Hold on, caffeine. Where am I at? Me and my friend Belinda just started a show, Independent Focus. It has not released yet, but we are on Twitter as at Indie Focus Pod. We are currently accepting submissions where we just do indie books, self-published stuff. So if you are a creator, you know someone that is, definitely feel free to hit us up, because we are always looking for cool books to hype that maybe are off the radar from your standard Marvel and DC stuff. And me and my friend Jess have a show, Questionable Commentary, with Mannix and unpaid intern Jess Beaver. And currently we just have a Facebook page for that. If you look for Questionable Commentary, you'll find us. We are currently live streaming our recordings of the U.S. Office commentary, and that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think that's it. Yeah.
And we'll have more information down the road on both of those shows in the next month or two.
Neither is officially released yet in the audio only format. Still between shows right now. It's like a thing. But yeah. Live streaming only at this point. So yeah, if you look on iTunes, you won't find us yet.
Sounds good. And Melissa, where can they find you?
I am also on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. If you want to hear me talk more about superheroes, this time a completely original superhero that I invented, I am on the first episode of a really sweet show called The Home for Wayward OCs. And also I am part of a live play RPG podcast called The Lost Library. It's going to be a hub for a couple different campaigns. Right now we just have a Monster of the Week game called Grayscale. So I'm part of the huge cast of that thing. It's a 10-person game plus the GM. It's very ambitious, and it is very, very fun to be in, and I hope it is fun for people to listen to also.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Well, again, thank you all for joining us. Go watch E.T. this week and catch our live stream on it next weekend as well. So with that, we will catch you guys next week. Adios, guys.